What's going on, everybody? Alex with you here again as usual. Thank you for dropping by for yet another chess video. It's always great to see you guys. Don't forget, before you leave, hit that like button. Anyways, in today's video, I'm super excited to share with you guys another chess purchase. A lot of people have been excited about this particular product. So this is going to be the Tempest chess clock, and specifically it's the Tempest Deluxe version. As we will see here shortly, this particular clock is unique in a sense that it is completed by you inserting your own cell phone or your second cell phone inside of the clock, and it utilizes the cell phone's accelerometer features to basically allow you to use your own phone as a clock. Let me go ahead and jump in. I want to show you guys this particular clock. I was really excited about this clock for quite a while, and I've had a lot of the viewers actually recommend this clock and wanted to see if I could show this. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of zoom the camera in, and we'll take a look and see what this clock is all about. And then I'll give you guys my opinion as far as who I believe this clock is for, who would benefit by having this clock as opposed to like a regular standard clock, and how is this clock going to be setting itself apart from the competition, basically. So I'll give you guys the pros and the cons to using this clock. So guys, you guys will be able to make a little bit of a better decision in case you were looking at this. Hopefully after watching this video, you're going to have your mind made up a little bit better and say whether or not this is something for you or not. I'm going to start off by saying that as of now, I believe this clock retails for there's two different kinds. There's going to be the clock that will be kind of a more or less all black plastic, and then there's that's the regular one, and I think that retails for approximately $49–50, which is standard for a clock. I mean, unless you're going for some kind of like a DGT official, like they have this new DGT clock that I've been wanting to get, some kind of the DGT official clock. Super nice looking, and that one retails for close to $100. But for the most part, usually chess clocks are somewhere in the range of about $40 to $60 based on what I've seen before. Now, if you get the deluxe version, this is going to be the deluxe version. I don't have the standard one. I wish I did so I can show it to you like how it compares. But I had to buy this with my own money, and I was not sent this. I'm not affiliated with this. Like I said, this is going to be my honest opinion about this product. So hopefully you guys will benefit. What differentiates this one, which retails for I think close to $100, I think it's like $89 on, I bought mine on Amazon, is that you get, instead of a plastic, you get a walnut, black walnut, I believe. And then there's leather. So it's just a better, higher quality, better feel type of clock. As we'll see in a second. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and bring the camera in, and we're gonna take a look. We're gonna try the clock out, see its functionality, and then finally I'll conclude by basically sharing with you who I feel this clock might be best used for. Okay, so here's the box. In fact, when it arrived from Amazon, it was saran wrapped with a plastic wrap on top with my delivery address. So the way that it came is basically in this box. Without any additional box on top, which I guess it's okay to do it that way, but usually when products come, they come with some kind of an additional box, but that's okay. So Tempest Deluxe, yeah, unique hybrid competition game clock, plus the app. The app you have to download separately from either an app store or Google Play. This will work with either Android or iOS. Yeah, you get a bunch of descriptions here. It's let's open the box up and I'll show you guys what it looks like underneath. Here we go. Really quite nice. The top portion here has this sort of indentation for where the clock's this part was, and that's about it for the top. There's really nothing extra. This is the actual clock right over here. It fits in nicely, bordered by this cardboard here that prevents it from moving around, so you don't get any movement during shipping, and a reduced likelihood that anything's going to get damaged while this clock is arriving to you. Okay, you go ahead and kind of slide this out carefully. It's got a nice, really nice fit, and this is the actual clock. As we'll see here in a minute, I'll assemble it and show it to you how it works. And this here is a little tiny additional instruction pamphlet that shows you what you need to do. Basically, you can either scan this little barcode right over here, and it will then direct you to like Google Play or the App Store, and then it will show you where to download the Tempest clock application. Okay. Also, if you go to tempestclock.com, I think they direct you straight to like the App Store or the Google Play. That's about it. There's nothing more in the box, so that's pretty much it. That's all you get. When you download the app will ask you for a serial number, so that you have to put in your name, first, last name, email address, and then a serial number so that you can register your product. The serial number is located on the underside of this clock, and without inputting the serial number, you're not going to be able to actually use the application. And then we have the actual clock. The clock is made to work with chess, with Go, with backgammon, and Scrabble. So as we'll see here shortly, the actual configuration is that this deluxe edition here has this really nice walnut finish all around. It looks professional. It looks really nicely. What do you guys think? Like it, the top here, this big button, it has a toggle so that, and you do get some resistance, just like you would in a regular clock. It's not a terrible amount of resistance, but it's just enough for you to not feel like it's gonna slide back or anything like that. So, and it's got a nice feel. It doesn't feel like it's hitting hard into the bottom, but at least it makes a tangible physical sound when you push it back and forth. The underside here, I'm not gonna show you guys the serial number, but the underside has this really nice sort of a rubberized bottom that allows you to position this clock, and it kind of due to the rubbery effect of it, you'll keep it in one place so that you're not worried about it moving around. Okay, so right down in here, right here, as you guys can see, there's this little space, and the way that it is that you have sort of let me see if I can zoom it in closer a little bit. Yeah, so this part right here is like leather, and this leather feels really nice. I believe it's like real leather, but it just feels nice overall, and it feels good. I think the standard edition doesn't have the leather. I think it's plastic, but in this case it's a nice leather finish. It's a good sort of a detail. But right over here there's this space right here, and there's this little elevation that your phone basically kind of pushes against. And it's very important for me to show you guys this because there's only so much space here. And the way that it works is that this little part right here, this little fragment of the leather actually will kind of lift up. Do you guys see this? It sort of lifts up. So the way that it is the space here is of certain thickness, and then the leather sort of extends into that thickness. It's kind of an interesting combination of design. Right there, see how it's lifting a little bit? And the reason why they made this, like the space is actually thicker inside a little bit than it appears to you on the outside, because this protrudes into that space. And the reason why is that when you put your cell phone in here, you kind of shove it down in there, this little bit of extra leather, it's actually thick. It'll sort of, you'll push into that leather, and the leather will actually push against the phone, preventing it from moving around and sliding. So I guess the reason why they designed this the way they did is because they want to make sure that any type of a cell phone can fit in here. Yeah, so I brought my tape measure, and we're measuring at approximately, and I'm gonna probably say 6, maybe 6 3/4 max. 6 3/4 probably. If you're unsure, what I would recommend is if you have one of those big cell phones, you'd probably want to contact the company beforehand and inquire specifically based on your cell phone model whether or not your cell phone will fit into the space. I know some cell phones are a little bit bigger, so, and some cell phones, especially the recent cell phones that like will open up into like almost a tablet, they might actually be too thick. Okay, so there's only so much thickness here, so the cell phone has to be only so thick in order to kind of be able to slide in here. The reason why I'm saying all this is, here's my phone, okay? And it's not a new phone, it's an older phone, and as far as the width of this phone, It's a Samsung Galaxy S10. It's an older phone. And the width is going to be, with the case, it's going to be about 6 inches or so. So because I told you guys that this is like 6 3/4 basically, we can fit a larger phone. But my phone is not like the Plus version. My phone is like the regular version. It's not the biggest phone. And the phone is okay. The thickness, because of my, I got the OtterBox, I think the OtterBox Commuter or Defender, I don't remember what it was. But it makes it a little bit thicker. And to me, this thickness, I'm used to this thickness. This is not super thick. But my thickness here of the phone, and I'm going to try to be as exact as I could, is going to be, well, it's about 12, it's about 11, 12, probably 12 millimeters or so, maybe somewhere in that range. And it doesn't fit. Doesn't fit in here. It doesn't actually push through. It's too big with this case. So if you're going to use a cell phone, you have to make sure that your cell phone is going to be kind of not super thick, because then it just won't slide in here. Especially for people out there that are thinking of picking this up to be used with their old cell phone. As a lot of times, as we switch to newer phones, what do we do with our old phones? Well, we just kind of put them in somewhere in a drawer and hope that one day we'll give it to somebody or whatever. We just don't want to get rid of them, because at some point we paid a lot of money for them. But some of the older phones, they might be a little bit too thick, or they might be a little bit too long. So do take that into account. If you're like, oh, great, if you're unsure, contact the company and ask them if it's going to work. So if I remove my phone right over here from my from the box, it's you can see it's kind of dirty here because I don't remove it very often. Now, this actually, I can probably remove this, but it was a little metal thing that I used to use in my car, so I can kind of clip it to a magnet, but I'm gonna have to remove it because I don't use it anymore. Now if we measure it, it measures at approximately maybe like 8 millimeters or so thickness. So it's not, as you can see, it's not a super thick, but this is approximately the thickness nowadays of like your cell phones, your iPhones, your Androids. I don't know. My phone's always kind of dusty, but yeah. And so without the case, what happens is I put it in like this, and then you have to physically kind of push it down. Once you push it down, what happens, as you guys can see, is that leather that I was talking about actually sort of bends downward a little bit with the phone. And as it bends down, it keeps the phone in there, so that when you're actually playing your game, the phone goes with it like this, and so you don't have any issues with the phone kind of moving around, since the phone has to be relatively secure as you're playing the game. So because if the phone is not secure, it'll be kind of wobbling around, and the accelerometer might not pick up what you're trying to do. Okay? So as far as the physical characteristics, this is pretty much going to be the final product right over here. This is how it's going to look. I'm going to go ahead and start up my once you actually download this Tempest clock application, like right over here, you get to, here we go. You go into this little initial menu. This is the settings menu. So in the settings menus, everything's relatively straightforward. You can either do chess, Go, Backgammon, or Scrabble, and each one additionally will have the subsection for you to be able to make additional identifications on how you want. You can either choose a digital clock or an analog, and the way the analog will look is like kind of like this, which is really nice. Let's just go ahead, since this is kind of a chess channel, I'm going to show you guys the characteristics of the chess things. So you have to set up your time. So when you go into the settings, you can set the minutes right over here, however many minutes you want. It's easy to set because this is it's a touch screen, so you're used to already using your phone. So that way you don't have to go somewhere and look at like the underneath instructions on how you set your phone. Super easy. And then you want to set the increment, however many seconds you want the increment to be. So for example, let's set it to 8 and 10. And then, like I said, you can either choose an analog clock or a digital. The digital, in my opinion, is going to be a lot better, more readable. And then once you're done, right over here, you can click go and watch this. So it picks up right over here. You see that? And then when we click, did you see that it added 10 seconds? There you go. Now there is a little bit of a lag when you press, and that lag might be possibly, let's see, I'm gonna put it on a flat surface. Yeah, I don't think there's really that much of a lag as you guys can see. Like, what do you guys think? Let's see. Yeah, that was a little bit of a lag. Like I said, this utilizes the accelerometer feature. I mean, pretty good. That was a lag a little bit. The overall feel of the clock is great. It also here, right in the middle, right over here, it shows you how many moves you've already done based on how many clicks. You can also press pause right over here, and you can add time, add however many seconds you want to add to that individual's clock. If you're running out of time and you wanted to do a little bit more, you can restart and start again and just go from there. If you want to go back, you can just go to settings, and that'll bring you back up here. If you like, for example, you want to start a new game, or you want to do a different time interval, we can go back here, and we can also check out the analog clock. So the analog clock will look kind of like this. I'm not a big fan of analog clocks because I like to have big, giant digital numbers so that I can see better when I'm looking with the side of my eyesight. When I'm focusing on the game, I don't want to have to figure this out. I'm not used to this. But that's what you have here. And then, yeah, we see that there's a little bit of a lag between this one to this one. Watch. It goes back here quicker. Maybe not. I don't know. It has to do with the accelerometer of your own phone, so it should be okay, and it's nothing to do with the actual design of the clock. So that's that. So you have the additional things here that you can do, like, for example, competition, that allow you to pick, like, when you're in tournaments, you can do different options and set those. You also have, like, this countdown, like however many seconds you have left. You can set to where it'll actually warn you with like a speaker and different languages. So there's a little computer sound that, did you guys hear that? Or you can do like other different languages, kind of a little bit tricky. Let's see.
Привет, меня зовут Tempest.
Привет, Tempest. So different languages. Let's see.
你好，我叫 Tempest.
Oh, that's the one I'm gonna use. Okay. So that'll like warn you when it's gonna warn you if you're like running out of time. Konnichiwa. That's kind of cool. This I believe is probably chess. What is it? Chess 960 or something. I'm not really sure what it's doing here, but then you have additional instructions. These are instructions if you're not sure how to use it. It actually shows you all the different things and how to adjust the time and what things you need to be doing. So it's relatively self-explanatory as far as I can tell. Once you're done figuring things out, you can just go back simply here, and you can either restart, or if you want to change this interval here, for example, I want to do 10-minute with maybe 1 second increment. Then I go back and I can go ahead and get started. See? So this sort of relies best, like as far as the accuracy, I believe it relies best if you have it on a flat surface. But if you guys have had this, feel free to share in the comments below your experience with this clock, and what do you guys think about it, the overall construction, how user-friendly is this? I was going to actually test it with my iPhone, but for some reason I lost my iPhone like a couple of weeks ago, and I've been searching everywhere. I have no idea where it is, but if I find it, then I'll test it out with my iPhone. The thing about this is that when you have your phone like this, when you find the application for this, you have to put in the serial number that's found on the underside of the clock.
And one of my sort of reservations or apprehensions was the fact that, well, once you put in the serial number, that registers this clock to this particular phone. And I was like, well, does that mean that it like basically locks only this phone to be used with this particular clock? And the same buddy who contacted me, he said he had registered the clock with several phones already, and he hasn't had any issues or anything like that. So that being said, I believe that you can register many devices with one particular serial code, but just to be sure, you guys can reach out to the company and double check on that. If the company itself is watching my video, then you guys can clarify and comment below just to give the guys an idea how many devices can you use with this one, with this one clock. I honestly don't think this is big enough for like an iPad, but I really think that as far as like a regular chess clock that allows you to use your cell phone, I think pretty much most cell phones are going to be big enough to be fitted in here. So advantages. What are my advantages of this product here? Well, as you guys can see right off the top, is that you get a nice bright screen. Well, because you're using your phone, and you also can adjust the brightness of the screen because it's your phone. Because if you're playing in a dark environment and somebody might have a sensitivity to light, you can always make your screen a little bit darker, so that that person might not be blinded by the side of your screen. Or if it's a very bright environment, you can crank up the brightness on your phone, and there you go. I also heard that I think there's going to be modified skins that you can download. I haven't tested that option out, but if you have this phone, if you have this clock and you've tried modifying it, let me know how that worked out for you. But yeah, you can apparently get different clocks with different numbers, so that's going to be really cool to see. It's going to be fully modifiable, so they say. That's one of the biggest advantages, is that you have full control of your phone. You know how your phone works. And another thing is that, like, if you had a phone that had absolutely no use to it, and all of a sudden, like, you found this great use for your phone, you're going to be feeling happy that your old phone, which you paid a lot of money for, is not just sitting in a drawer and now is actually being used again. So you find new uses for old products. That's, in my opinion, that's kind of cool. If you don't have an old phone, the big disadvantage is that if this is your only phone and you are like receiving phone calls or somebody's text messaging you, usually during tournaments you're not like supposed to use your phone. But if I'm sitting and my wife texts me that she wanted me to know something about the kids or tell me something about the kids, I will answer my phone. I mean, at an official tournament, I don't think you're supposed to use your phone, but in a regular tournament, I'll take a look and answer. I'm not like cheating with my phone, but I will answer if I have to pick up a phone call that I'm expecting. In this particular situation, if you bring this clock to a tournament, you better make sure that your phone that you're putting in here is not going to be receiving phone calls and that type of thing. So, because let's face it, you just have to take the phone. I'm sorry. We're going to have to pause the game. Let me pause it on this thing or not. I'm going to actually have to take this phone call and leave, and you're not going to have a clock anymore, For home purposes or for purposes where you have the additional cell phone and you can just put that cell phone in like airplane mode, that's perfect. You put it in airplane mode, you turn on the app, nobody's bothering you. The phone is only functioning as a clock at that point. You don't have any issues, nothing to worry about. So that would be nice. So what do you guys think? I think it's definitely a unique, innovative idea. I think that you can definitely, as long as you have another cell phone, find a good use for that cell phone by turning it into what looks like a pretty fancy chess clock. I mean, it does look really fancy, especially if you have one of the bigger cell phones where the screen is easy to read like this. That's really nice. In my opinion, once you have a cell phone in there, it's overall really nice. The leather smells really nice too. And the wood, everything just feels like it's very solid made. The product itself is a little bit heavy, so that extra weight plus the weight of the cell phone makes it nice and stable. You're not at a risk of this falling over or anything like that. It does feel really nice. When I first saw this, I thought, well, this is pretty cool. But in the beginning, I thought to myself, it was like with the Google VR, like when VR came out initially, and then Google would like sell you the cardboard Google headset thing where you would like basically make it yourself to send you, and you would just bend the cardboard into space, and then you attach a little ribbon and put it in your eyes, and you get the Google put your phone right in there, and you get the product, and then you're like, what did I just spend my money on? I don't remember if they were free. I never got one, but had those been sold, you're like, really? This is just a piece of cardboard. So before I bought it, I was like, well, really? I didn't know at first. I didn't know whether there were any batteries inside of this product or anything digital, anything. When I purchased this, I realized that it's not. It's kind of like Google Cardboard, essentially. So once you've downloaded the application for the clock, technically, and I'll show you what technically means, is that I can take this out, okay, and I can do this, okay. So see. And if you find another way of reproducing this motion right here, you don't need that at all. But the application, the Tempest clock application, does not allow you to use their application without having this product. So this product comes with a serial number because they want to make sure that you're not going to find another way to utilize their application and basically not order their product. So I think it's a great idea. Do I think it's worth the money that it retails for? I think it does because let's face it, yes, you're getting a product that may have like no circuitry inside of it or whatever. But at the same time, it's versatile because today you want to use one of your old cell phones. Tomorrow you might use another old cell phone. The next day you might bring this over to your friend and you might say, hey buddy, like I forgot my old cell phone or whatever, can we just use yours? So it's versatile in that sense. You could still, regardless of what cell phone you use, you could still have the platform and be able to use it as a chess clock. Yeah. What is your comment about it? Let me know below what you guys think about it. It's a well-made product. It's a quality product. Part of me feels like it would have been nice if there was additional circuitry inside of it so that in case you don't have your actual cell phone, you could have at least some kind of a little screen here on the bottom that you could still utilize this as like a regular chess clock. That would be nice if they had like an additional thing. But then we're getting into a whole new sort of a whole new branch of development, because then you would have to have actual buttons here, tangible buttons that would allow you to go through the options of choosing whatever time interval you need to choose. And then, so basically then you have a clock in addition to this. So I don't know. I think this works because it's simple and it works with people that already know how to use their clock. So just make sure that that you understand the dimensions of this, because it's if your clock or if your phone is a little too big for this space right here, then it probably won't fit, and then you're going to be disappointed. The lag that we've seen when we were up close, the lag is basically the lag of your own cell phone accelerometer that's basically picking up on the elevation differences and the angle difference. So it has nothing to do with the actual construction of the clock, but more has to do with your cell phone. If there are any issues with that, I would definitely contact the company and see what they would have to say about it. But if there was any significant lag in this particular setup, then what I would probably recommend is maybe using this clock more for classical or rapid games as opposed to using this clock for like Blitz or Bullet. If you wanted something that's super rapid, you might want to consider like a DGT clock. Hopefully I'm going to be getting the DGT clock. I think it's the DGT 2500 that came out just recently. I contacted DGT and they said that it's one of their newest, fastest, brightest clocks available right now. So, but once again, that's going to set me back another $100. So, yeah. Once again, thank you everybody. Thank you so much for taking the time to review this product with me. If you have any additional questions, be sure to leave them below, and be sure to stick around. I'm going to be having some more videos here soon, and everybody stay safe, play more chess, and I'll see you guys in the next video, okay?